Hey guys, welcome back to Sports with Mono and Mono. It's November 15th, 2025. And of course, I'm here with Elijah Weintraub, my co host. Eli, how are you?
I'm doing good, Jim. Good morning to you, and welcome to another great show. We have a lot to talk about, and as always, of course, as we started and mentioned last week on our show, we have our call-in feature open and available. You can scan the QR code, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can click on the link in the chat box to call in live to ask your questions, say your comments, whatever you want. You could access to your phone, your computer, wherever you like. Be sure to allow all in settings for camera and microphone, and you can come on our show. And we have a comment already from Andrew. He says, "Good morning, guys. And high school football in New Jersey is in playoff season." And you're absolutely right. And we'll get to more of that in a little bit.
Yep.
First, Jim, you got the monologue sponsored by Coriano Trucking of Summer Hill, New York.
Okay, Eli. And yes, Andrew, thank you. And I'm sure I'll see Andrew later at the high school playoff game at St. Joe's. But the monologue this week, and so it was post baseball award season. I know this is a topic that you and I've talked about. So the MVP award, and it was awarded to Aaron Judge and to Shohei Ohtani, right? So it's the first, back to back winners in this, same season for MVPs. And yes, I'm a Yankee fan, and I know you're not a big Judge fan, or at least not a playoff Judge fan. And his numbers were amazing, so I don't have a problem
That is
with him
correct.
winning the MVP. And his numbers proved it out for sure. However, there was one instance in Major League Baseball history where there were co MVPs, and that was 1979 with Keith Hernandez and Willie Stargell. And I'll get back to that in a second. But when I remembered that, I think this would have been an absolutely perfect case for there to be co MVPs because Cal Raleigh he hit 60 home runs. He's a catcher, so that's a tough position to play throughout the year, and he played most of the season. It would have been really good if the sports writers did something to that effect. And because back in 1979, Willie Stargell, he only hit 280. Um, he only drove in 82 runs. But if people remember that the 79 season, even though postseason's not supposed to count toward the MVP voting and so forth,
Correct.
he did lead the Pirates to the World Championship and had a great World Series. So I think that may have come into play. Keith Hernandez hit 344, drove in over 100 runs, and of course, he's a Gold Glove. So he probably could have won that on his own. I don't think it was warranted for a co MVP with Will Argel's numbers, but with Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge, I think you could have made an absolute case, and I think everybody would have been happy and nobody would have barked about it. But I just want give us your thoughts on that because he hit 60 home runs. Yes, you can put an asterisk and say, yeah, well, he only hit 245, and I get that. But he had more home runs than Judge. He had more RBIs than Judge, but Judge led most of the offensive category. So this isn't a slight and saying Judge shouldn't have won it, Raleigh should have won it. I'm just saying it could have been a co MVP type vote.
All right. We have a lot of comments and a lot of viewers tuning in. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'm going to go to Tom first. He says, "Good morning, gentlemen." Good morning, Tom. William says, "Good morning." Good morning, William.
Yep.
Brandon says, 100% agreed with your statement there. Diego agree. It says hello and good morning. And Eric says, "Jim and Eli are MVP sportscasters. All the best, Eric." Appreciate that a lot, Eric. Thank you so much. And to everybody, thank you all for tuning in. And as a
Yep.
reminder, of course, you can call in live, scan the QR code, or click on the link in our chats to join the conversation. You can join in, call in live, and you could say your thoughts live with us.
Yep.
And Brandon says, "Great opening by Jim."
Thanks, Brendan. And listen, I appreciate all of those comments from all of our listeners, and I wanted to give a special shout out to Tom Pugh, who was the first to send us a comment this morning because Tom, this is the 5th anniversary of his heart transplant. And how
Oh,
amazing
wow.
is that? I mean, I feel fortunate that him and I became friends when we met in 2008 in San Diego, California. And he's been a dear friend of mine and just a wonderful person. So, Tom, I'm very proud of you, and I'm continued um, working out and doing all the things. He's in better shape than I am, for crying out loud. So, but I wanted to give you a personal shout out, my friend. Stick with it, and
Stick with
thank
it.
you for the comment.
And by the way, I just wanted to, yeah, it was a good monologue, as you mentioned, Jim. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, these two guys, Troy Otani and Aaron Judge, rightfully so, deserved
They
MVP.
did.
No question about it. Regular season was phenomenal. Shohei Otani in the postseason, phenomenal as always. Aaron Judge, he stepped up from last year, so I give him credit on that one.
You did.
So yeah, I got to be honest, it was a great World Series, and it was awesome to see as usual. To see that these two guys are the MVP candidates and winners.
Yeah. How about
With
Otani? That's his fourth already. Fourth.
He's a Hall of Famer, no question about it. He's won too many World Series. He's unbelievable, and there's no question about it.
Yep.
Brandon says, blessings to Tom Pugh. And Tom says, thank you, Jim and Eli. Go Hoosiers and Irish.
Yeah, he's living large, man. Notre Dame and Indiana, they're playing well, and they're
I
going to the
mean,
college football playoffs. So, and
I got to ask,
yeah, I
is
just
Tom
wanted
a
to
Colts
mention
fan
one other
too?
comment because I know Brendan Conley and Brendan. We're going to talk a little bit about high school football coming up in a little bit, but unfortunately, Wayne Hills lost to Old Pan last night, so they're out.
Yeah. Is
I know that's
Tom a
disappointing to you, but we still have St. Joe.
Tom, I have a question for you. Are you a Colts fan too? Because if you are a Colts fan, on top of rooting for Indiana and stuff, I think you're really living the dream, I would say.
I don't think he's a Colts fan. I don't
So
know.
let us know in the comments what football in the NFL you follow, because I'm curious to know at this point. If this is gonna be a true Indiana love that we're seeing here.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay, Eli,
Wayne
take
Hill's
us.
class of no class is Brandon. What he says.
Yeah. All right,
All
Eli,
right.
take us into the NFL and what's going on. There's a lot of things
Well,
happening this past week.
there's a lot of things going on in the NFL right now. And I think we have to start off with the New York Giants, because this week they have officially fired Brian Dable.
Yep.
The New York Giants took a loss last week to the Bears, 24-20. Jackson Dart suffers a concussion injury, so he'll be out this week. Jameis Winston will start, and all results lead to the Giants firing Brian Dable. Unfortunately, this is to me, it's a little bit of a shock. I didn't expect it to happen mid-season. I think he's a pretty good coach. I think he has a lot of potential with him. I just think that the Giants should have fired their GM. They had to fix up their defense first, and I think there was a lot of other key issues that the Giants should have solved before this happened.
Yeah.
So this was a bad loss for sure.
Yeah, I got some thoughts on this. And listen, I was a Brian Dable supporter for a long time, but at some point in time, this does have to fall on the head coach. There were questionable personnel decisions, like you said. The defense is just, they're 28th and 30th in the league in points allowed and yards per game. So that falls on the head coach. But I do agree with you, Eli, that I thought he would at least last the season. And at the end of the season, if they did, finish like 5-12 or something, that he was going to get fired. But I agree with you that it was a package deal, and Joe Shane should have been fired too, because he's in charge of personnel decisions. And even though the Giants suffered, a lot of injuries, and now again, we keep talking about this concussion thing with, now Jackson Dart is out and so forth. So I think both of them need to be held accountable, and I agree with you. I'm a little surprised that it happened mid-season, but let's see what happens. The season's lost anyway, Eli.
All right, and Tom did mention that he is not a Colts fan, but he does like the blue mascot, and he's still rooting for the Chiefs. So that is some positive here. We do have a couple callers I want to get to.
Good.
Well, sorry, Brandon just left. He's gonna, I guess, come back in a second.
Okay.
I believe we have Ed. Ed, are you there? Ed Heath.
Eddie,
Okay,
you there?
you might have to allow all in the camera and mic settings, so we'll get back to you in a second. Brandon is here, though. Brandon, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
All righty, welcome. Yes, we can hear you.
Listen, I love the feature with the call in. I need to say, as I said on the podcast weeks ago, it goes with ownership, GM, coach, quarterback. The Giants have a fractured system,
They
and
do.
with this fractured system, they cannot take an opportunity on a non-proven head coach. They have to get a proven head coach, somebody with experience, in order to turn this program around. And the GM is going to have to go at the end of the season. At no point should Joe Shane, things have come out about Joe Shane. He did not even want Jackson Dart. So I really want to know what your
Yep.
thoughts are about not only the player personnel being, in my opinion, there's no depth to the roster. They have some good players, and Dable had to go, but they need to get a head coach from maybe Mike Tomlin. I'm just going to put a name out there. Bill Belichick
Fair
sounds a
enough.
little sour, but they need to get a proven head coach. This is the New York Giants. It's got to be the number one job in the NFL that's open, and probably a top 5 franchise job in entire sports world. That's all. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, Brendan. I
Brendan,
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
And Brendan, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I was going down that path saying I think Joe Shane has to be held accountable as well. And now, as far as who they should bring in, yeah, I had this conversation with somebody about whether Belichick was going to be the answer. Absolutely not. We don't need this luxury. We don't need the
Right.
Jordan Hudson. We don't need any of that stuff. I
Right.
would be fine with Mike Tomlin if he decides to leave Pittsburgh. But you know what, Brendan? The thing I worry about, the Giants, they're very loyal. It's almost like it's a family run business. And sometimes they don't go outside their circle, to
Right.
bring guys in. And this didn't work out with the Shane and Dable thing. So you're right. This is a big decision. And depth. That's exactly an outstanding point you brought up, because when Andrew Thomas went down, they brought this other guy in. It doesn't look like he could have played for Wayne Hills, for crying out loud. So a lot of bad personnel decisions. The season is completely lost already. Now, Dart, we know we have probably our quarterback of the future, but you got to give him a supporting cast. And if it's Mike Tomlin or John Gruden or somebody like that, I'm okay with it. I just worry that the Giants will try to keep this in the house and somebody with former ties to the Giants, but we'll see
Yeah.
what happens. Yep.
He brought up fantastic points there, and Tomlin, as you mentioned, is one of those coaches out there who could be fired next if you think about it, and could be an open candidate that the Giants could want and need. I mean, look at the Steelers right now. They lost last week pretty badly. They didn't have a great game last week versus the Chargers. Should have been a close game, considering, they had some advantages too. The Steelers have this week the Bengals, and this is a must win for Pittsburgh. If they lose this one, there's gonna be some questions that need to be asked, especially that this Bengals team has been, in a sense, wishy washy in a way. In terms of, we do have William joining us. He's here to have a question. William, thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? Hey, Jim, what's happening?
Hi, William. Thanks for joining us, my friend. What can throw it at us? Come on. What do you got?
Well, you guys were just talking about the Giants, and Jim, you said it was a family business. Absolutely is a family business. The Giant fans and the Giant base, they've been, hungry for years. And it's sad, unfortunately, that the New York based fans has to, Dabo should have been fired a long time ago with that Saquon Barkley debacle, and along with the GM. They need some new, fresh blood in there, and that's what it is. I mean, the New York fans. I'm a Giants fan. I'm actually a football fan. But I root for New York. The Giants for
Of course.
years. But the management needs to, the ownership needs to take blame, like the head coach. He should have been fired in Denver. I thought he was going to get fired in Denver after that debacle, that fourth quarter. Who comes back and scores 31 points on a team like that? That's uncalled for. But it is what it is.
Listen, William, I thank you for calling in and thank you for watching the show. And you're right. I absolutely agree here that the general manager is to blame just as much as that head coach because of the personnel decisions that they made. Yeah, they got Dart, but as Eli pointed
And
out,
now Dart is injured. Now, I would Russell Wilson. He's a great player, but he's not fit
Was.
for the program over in New York. I think Jameis Winston. They should have brought Jameis Winston in that game last week against Chicago.
Yep.
That's the decision of the coach. That relies every decision on that sideline is the coach, the head man
Yep.
that runs the program, and that's how it is. And it starts with the top, the general manager and the ownership of the New York Giants.
All right. We're in agreement, William. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate your thoughts.
All right, talk to you soon.
All right, appreciate
Okay,
it, William.
guys.
All right.
Yeah, so Eli, like I said, and there's going to be more openings and as head coaches.
Yeah.
The season comes down, and but let's get a couple of personnel issues. So Travis Hunter out for the season. I know.
Yes, that was another big name too.
Yeah, that's JR. I'm sure he's going to comment on that for sure.
Yeah, but that is a bad loss as well for this Jaguars team, and they lost last week to the Texans. And again, this Texans team wasn't as the top team they were a couple years ago, so could have been a win. Never happened there. If you look at the Jaguars this week, they have a tough one again. This week they have the Chargers this week at home in Jacksonville, so that's another tough one they have to watch out for as well. So let's keep in mind about that. We want to go back to Williams' point as he mentioned about the GM and everything, and Saquon Barkley. That whole Saquon Barkley stuff is a whole GM decision. I think that's on Joe Shane. It's not so much, I think, in Brian Dable's favor. And honestly, leaving the Giants was the best thing that could have ever happened to Saquon Barkley. The worst thing that could ever happen to a New York sports fan and to anybody in New York.
Yep.
But it really turned out to be a benefit for him, not so much a loss for. For him, for the Giants, yeah, it was a horrible loss. There's no question about it. I think that's on GM though more.
You know what? And talking head coaches, the way the New York Jets have played this year, and Aaron Glenn doesn't seem to me like he has this head coach mentality. Maybe a good defensive coordinator. Listen, Ryan Dable's going to be an offensive coordinator somewhere.
No question.
I mean, he does have quite a resume on that, but being a head coach is much different. And the Jets and Giants, they're just absolute messes right now. And by the way, on the Jacksonville Jaguars, I have always been, a Trevor Lawrence guy. So, he has moments of brilliance. And I know JR is a big diehard fan, but I don't think they're for real. So they're not going to be contending anywhere for the AFC Championship.
Brandon comments, he says, 0-10 versus Dallas Cowboys should have been fired a long time ago.
Yeah, that's not a good record. Thanks, Brandon. I know.
Yeah.
All right, Eli.
So let's take a look at that chart. I mean, there's not much else I have to say. And I don't even want to show the graphic because the crown has switched. Jim has now officially taken over the crown. 19-13 is the overall standings. I stand at 18-14. Last week, Jim went perfect, 3-0. I went 1-2 last week. I'm very disappointed in myself. And Jim, as always, before we make our picks, I don't wish you good luck, and I want that crown back. Hopefully, I can redeem myself this week. So hopefully, I can get back into it this week.
Yeah. Listen, I hope you enjoyed your little
winter run. You could tell right now. If you just heard that, he was choked up when he saw that he got the crowd and everything. You could just feel the emotion that he's feeling right now.
Yeah, listen, like I said, it's still a long way to go, Eli. So don't worry about it.
Oh, of course, and it'll be mine this year. But let's get to the picks.
All right, Eli, give us your 3 picks for the week.
That's
give
fine.
Us your 3 picks.
Well, 3 great games. Let's start it off here. Buccaneers at the Bills, 1 p.m. on CBS. It's a great game. Both these teams lost last week. Both these teams took losses to the Patriots as well, which is apparently the number 1 team. And I have my thoughts about that. I can get to that later. But Buffalo's favorite as of right now, 5.5. Yeah, I don't trust this Buffalo team. Give me Tampa Bay 24-20 to get a win.
Wow. Okay.
I'm taking
Tampa Bay. We don't do point
spread,
so whatever that means. Anyway.
Of course, I know. You have your opinion on it.
But you're right. But Buffalo coming off an ugly loss to Miami last week. And Dalton Kincaid's out today, too. So that's
that's another one you want to watch. Take note of as well. Tom says looks even up to me. So you're no question there. Seahawks Rams, one of the best games I think of the afternoon slate, the 1 o'clock and the 4 o'clock. I think there's no question about it. Both these teams are pretty much, this game decides who wins the West or not in the NFC. This will decide who is the front runner. Even though they'll play each other, they'll have a lot more games left to play. Even though it's week 11, it's pretty much who's the front runner after this week. One of the best games.
So
Of course, I'm going to
who
go
is the
with
Seattle
my Seattle
Seahawks?
Seahawks. Of course, I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks. Are you kidding me, Jim? 26-23 is my score. Seattle's, of course, going to get the win. They play
Okay,
better on the road, too.
I can see my lead widening. Go ahead. You got
Well,
your
we still
third
got
game.
one more game, and I don't know about this one, but about this week, I know for sure it's mine. This crown is mine. I can guarantee you. Lions Eagles. Of course, as we know, we don't pick cupcake games. We pick all tough games. Unlike my friend Jim here, I pick tough games. So this week, this week for the Lions Eagles game, Sunday Night Football on NBC, I'm going with Fly Eagles Fly to win a big win on prime time. To get a big win on prime time. Eagles 26-24. They got the job done.
Interesting picks this week. Very good.
All right.
Very good.
Brandon says Buffalo playing in wind and cold rain versus a Florida team. Give me Buffalo. Fair
All
enough.
right.
That's a
Well,
good point too.
let me give you, thanks, Brent. Let me give you my picks here. So, and I don't think any of these are cupcake games. So
I think the one game is, and you can let us know in the comments about that one.
Chicago, Minnesota, game 1. And yeah, Minnesota, that's an up and down team. You just don't know what you're getting. I'm still, the jury's still out on JJ McCarthy and so forth. But I've seen Chicago play a couple times. They have some good players, but I'm going to take Minnesota as a bounce back game this week. There, right?
Wow, that's a
That's
bold pick right
1.
there. That is a
And
bold
look,
pick.
we all seem to be aligned with this Tampa Buffalo game because Tampa's having a very good season, but you're right. They are going to Buffalo. It's cold up there. It's snowy, and I know the Bills are coming off just an ugly, ugly loss last week, but I look for them to bounce back and beat Tampa Bay in Buffalo for game number 2.
All right.
And here, third game, Kansas City, Denver. And I know you said, Eli, you and I talked before the show, and Denver, they don't look pretty, but they have been winning. But I am not going against Patrick Mahomes this time around.
Figure that one.
Because they're starting to come together. They're healthy again. And I look for Kansas City to beat Denver in Denver as my game number 3.
So remind us once again the 3 picks for everybody.
I got Minnesota over Chicago, Buffalo over Tampa, and Kansas City over Denver.
All righty. Well, as
Right,
always,
Eli.
I don't wish you the best of luck, and that crown is coming back to my house. So I will make sure I get that crown.
We shall see. We shall see.
And now, something you've been pretty good at this whole season, college football in your picks. So let's go ahead and talk some college football.
Yeah, let's talk about some things that happened, first of all, last week. And Texas Tech really made a statement. They absolutely annihilated BYU. So they're like the number 3 team in the country. So, give them credit. They have really played some tough games and they've won some tough games. And that was a statement game. And we talked about Clemson, and Clemson actually won last night. I was going to bring that up. I would have taken Clemson because I don't think much of Louisville, but they bounce back. They get to 500, so one more win. They're bowl eligible. Not a formidable team, and obviously not a playoff team. But Clemson is starting to, and if they win these last couple of games, does that change the narrative for whether Dabo Swinney stays or goes? That remains to be seen. But Alabama, again, Ty Simpson and Alabama. I know LSU is kind of a mess right now with the Kelly situation and whatnot, but Alabama's playing some really, really good football, and they got a tough game today against Oklahoma.
Yes,
but
they
it
do.
is in Alabama, and I like Alabama to win today. The other big games today, Texas, Georgia. Great game today. And a lot of people are back on Texas's bandwagon. Me, I'm going to stick with Georgia to actually beat Texas today. It is in Georgia, and there is the Kirby Smart factor as far as I'm concerned. Couple other games today, and Eli, I think game day is actually at Pittsburgh for
Yes,
the
they
Notre
are.
Dame game. So that's a really good game. But I think the way Jeremiah Love is running the ball for Notre Dame, I look for them to beat Pitt.
Okay.
Rather, I don't want to say handily, but I think it's not going to be as close as a lot of people think. And then there's one other game, and this is Iowa is at USC, and I'm not a USC fan by any stretch. However, they do have some powerful weapons, and I look for them. I'm not sure whether or not Iowa is that legitimate team. I did see him play against Rutgers. The quarterback is outstanding, but I look for USC to win that game today as well. So good day of college football.
Yeah, we do have a bigger, good day of college football. We have Brandon again. Brandon, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I just wanted to add 2 points to what Jim had just mentioned. Number one, I just want to share a great memory of Jim's brother, Steven. God rest his soul. As a big LSU fan myself, we talked about Brian Kelly for years, and he may have been the first person to point it out to me, which I pointed out to everybody else, is that Uncle Steven told me that Brian Kelly was not a cultural fit at LSU, and he was damn right. He
Yep.
never fit into the culture. And Louisiana is a football state that needs to be run by a specific person. It cannot be a transient person or somebody from the Northeast like Brian Kelly was. So I just wanted to point out that Steven, I know he's watching. He was right, and I miss him, and I just wanted to make that point to Jim.
Oh, thank you, Brendan.
The second thing I wanted to bring up too is that all of this sports talk that we're having today has been fantastic. Thanks to you guys, but no comment yet about YouTube TV and streaming. How dare Disney black out customers for YouTube TV for 2 weeks and give a $20 rebate? I wasn't allowed to see a lot of these games that we're talking about that happened last weekend. And I think that, Jim and I are aligned, and I've spoken to Eli about it too. But anytime I get a chance to dump on either the NFL or ESPN, I'm going to do it. And I just wanted your thoughts on them.
Yeah,
All
that was
right.
actually one of my random points there, Brandon, about
I
the whole
know.
YouTube TV Disney thing. And thank you again for joining us. And I'm gonna get to that YouTube TV stuff in a little bit, and when we get to random points. And
I
I'm sure
knew you were,
it was
Eli. I
the
knew
first
you
note
were.
on my page. It was
Yep.
this is the random point sheet right there, first point. So I'll get to that when we get there. But I
Yep.
appreciate that. We'll get to that.
And Brendan, also, thank you for the mention for Steve. And him and
Yes.
I were completely aligned as well. Brian Kelly is a bully, and no way was that going to fly down in Louisianaville. And it proved out right. He's absolutely a tyrant, and that doesn't play well with LSU. Great point, Brendan. Great point.
All right.
Eli,
Any other?
before we move on, we got high school football today.
Yes. Let me get to that graphic.
St. Joe's is playing Del Barton. Don Bosco won
Great
last
game.
night. So the big three in New Jersey: St. Joe's, Don Bosco, Bergen Catholic. Bergen Catholic is also playing today at 1:00. Bosco won big last night, so this is very exciting in New Jersey. High school football, and like I said, it's right now it looks good. It's going to weather-wise, maybe not going to be so great all day, but like I said, keep an eye on high school football because these are a lot of the players that are playing in these games today are going to be future Division I players, and then in some cases for future NFL players. So it's very exciting. Very exciting.
Absolutely. All right. Well, of course, as you mentioned, a great day of high school football. St. Mary's got eliminated. Disappointed about that, and also in volleyball, disappointed about that too. But great games. I cannot wait to talk about this next week about the whole St. Joe's, Bergen Catholic, Bosco won yesterday. So again, really excited about that. Can't wait to hear the reactions and thoughts. Later on in our Instagram, I don't know what time, but sometime today, I'll have the gym live from St. Joe's video up on our Instagram. So stay tuned for that. It won't be available, I think, on Facebook, but it will definitely be there on Instagram. So just stay tuned for that. I'll have that up later on. We do have another comment from William Shabazz won the third consecutive sectional finals last night over Madison. Wow.
They
That
did.
is
I
pretty
saw that
amazing there.
too. Yep.
Wow. All right. With that, let's go to some random points. That's going to be sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut.
Lead us on, Eli. Lead
All
us
right,
on.
I'll kick it off. And as Brandon mentioned earlier, the YouTube Disney battle is officially over. Disney programming returned last night. I have it ahead of a big college football weekend, an epic semifinals ahead for Dancing with the Stars on Tuesday, and of course, Monday Night Football. Why did I think it took so long? And I'm going to be quite honest with you. Remember this: Disney and ESPN and ABC, they don't need YouTube TV. YouTube TV needs Disney. Let's clarify that for a second. Because remember, Disney and ESPN has so many other cable platforms they're on. They're increasing their streaming service of ESPN Plus and the ESPN app. They have Hulu, they have Disney Plus. In reality, they don't need YouTube TV. So they could have been off for a couple more months in reality if you think about it. YouTube TV needs Disney more than the other Disney needs YouTube TV. Let's clarify
Good
that for a
point.
second. And
Good
we want
point.
to make sure I mention that clearly because they could have gone on for a couple more months, but they know that revenue was hurting, the stocks were going down, but that's just the bottom line. Disney doesn't need YouTube TV. It's the other way around. Yes, it hurted the stocks, no question about it for Disney. But at the same time, too, Disney could have been okay for a little bit longer because remember, they have all these platforms they're trying to encourage, and that's just the bottom line.
Well, good point. And by the way, so you are definitely our media guru. You understand the pros and cons. Maybe I'm a little behind the times, but I didn't feel that same pain because I'm still from the old school and have cable
Yes,
television. So,
right.
but I know the majority. I'm in the minority, and the majority of our fans. And like I said, Brendan couldn't watch some of those games because of the situation in Disney. So, um, yeah, this is not going to be the last time this happens.
No,
I'm
I mean they're
sure of
good
it
for a
with
couple
other
years.
streaming platforms.
Yes, they're good for a couple years with the contract, but remember, YouTube TV has been battling with many companies. They were just battling a couple months ago with NBC and Universal, and now they're doing the same with Disney. It's just YouTube TV
Yep.
added again. And remember, these companies don't need YouTube TV. YouTube TV needs them more. And back to Brandon's comment, time to go back to cable. Screw Disney and YouTube. I started with YouTube TV when it was $45, now $85. And
Well, I
remember,
don't
Brandon,
even want.
also too,
Yeah.
they also picked up a big package with the NFL, and that's why you have Sunday Ticket there and all that there. So now it's like, okay, time to
Yep.
raise it up even more. Yes, I understand it's a separate entity and all that, but of course they got to charge some way or another. They're making money in the right way, I guess you could say.
And listen, don't think we're not getting robbed on the cable front as well. But you're
100%
right.
either, but
Yeah.
it's
Good
just the
point,
bottom line.
Brendan.
And speaking of this whole streaming stuff, Apple TV is getting rid of the MLS Season Pass subscription service starting next season. Apple TV says it will make all matches available to all subscribers at no additional fee. They realized that nobody really was paying for the subscription service, and they want it open for everybody to watch. And so everybody can just pay that one standard price on Apple TV, and that's what they decided to do. And
And by
Brandon
the
also,
way, like with MLS, I think they're changing their the season, moving it to be more aligned with World Cup
World Cup
soccer.
season. Yes, I believe that is true on that
Yep.
regard. And Brandon says, wait until Fox does in this next to get to people to sign up for their streaming monopolies. Of
You
course.
got it. He's
You
on
know it.
right on it.
Continuing on with more streaming, because that's pretty much a streaming segment, I guess you can call it.
Apparently, yeah.
NBC will return NBC Sports Network. Remember that channel that was on our cable televisions and it was pulled off the air after the NHL said goodbye? Well, NBCSN is returning, but it comes with a twist. NBC Sports Network will return on Monday to select pay TV distributors, YouTube TV, and Xfinity. All others distributor, including Verizon and all these other major cable companies, will be waiting and will be announced in a different date once renegotiations go through. So bottom line, NBCSN is returning, but of course with the twist, and of course it'll help, I guess, with the Peacock standpoint. Again, moving to streaming.
Yep.
Continuing on, some exciting news. Actor Chadwick Boseman, who was best known for his role as Black Panther, passed away, of course, in 2020. Well, he'll soon be getting a Hollywood Walk of Fame star. So congratulations to him. Well deserved. Unfortunately, he did pass away, of course, a couple years ago. Played Black Panther, left such an impact in our lives and in the community, and well deserved that he'll be getting a star on the Walk of Fame.
Oh, he played Jackie Robinson in that movie 42, and it was outstanding, by the way. Yes.
He is an outstanding actor. Rest in peace for him. Mavericks GM Michael Harrison has been fired. You want to
That
add some thoughts on that one?
No, that was actually in my random points as well. Nico Harrison. Well, listen, you knew right away when you trade arguably one of the top three players in the league in Doncic for a broken down Anthony Davis. Excuse me, and it didn't work out. That's the consequence. So I'm not surprised by this at all. The fan outreach was beside themselves when he made this trade. It didn't work out, cost him his job.
Yeah. And we're going to go down to another major news that happened this week. Stephen Curry and Under Armour have parted ways, officially ending their longtime partnership. Curry says the Curry brand will move forward, but it'll move forward independently. The stock for Under Armour did go down quite a bit on Friday. So goes to show you what kind of an impact Curry has left on that company. And we'll see what happens to the future of Under Armour going forward.
Yeah, well, I don't have any stake in the game because I don't buy $500 pair of sneakers, so it doesn't matter.
I do like their clothing stuff, though. I do.
Oh, I'm a big Under Armour guy.
And you're wearing one of them right now, of course. I
it.
do have to admit that. Okay. Well, the shoe stuff I can care less about, but
Yeah,
the other stuff though, I do like the Under Armour brand. Devils Jack Hughes is out for a while after a hand injury suffered at a team dinner. There's no information released at this time on how long he'll be out for and how bad the injury was. We also don't know at this time if it was a glass or knife injury. There's been a lot of speculation that could have been one or the other. We don't know the exact details on that. We do know, because there's been some speculation, it was Frank the Tank's birthday, and he was at the same restaurant, it so happened, as the Devils were. It was not scheduled. It just so randomly happened they were at the same dinner. And no, Frank the Tank did not know about this whole stuff when it happened. Jack and Luke did not appear in the photo with Frank the Tank. And they're apparently running late at that time of the picture. So this could have already happened for all we know, or maybe a little bit after Frank left. So we want to clarify that for those people that did believe that he had some input into that.
And that's a big loss for your Devils because they're going to go as Jack Hughes takes them. And right now they're playing great hockey, but hopefully for you, Eli, he's not this injury-prone guy because this isn't the first time it's happened. So,
and as I mentioned to you, he's like an Aaron Judge for hockey. He plays really good regular season. We don't see much from him in the postseason. And again, always had one injury that stops him. He's pretty much the same thing. It just happens in the tri-state area, I guess. I don't know.
He's only probably 24 years old.
He is, but to injury after injury after injury after injury every year, out for a long period of time, doesn't do much in the playoffs when they make it, unacceptable either. It's kind of like Aaron Judge. I really like the guy, just not seeing the potential right now. Some other news. Some sad news this week. The U.S. Mint has officially made the last penny for the United States.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
Two
other notes I have. Michael Jackson became the first artist in history to reach the top 10 on the Hot 100. This also becomes the first person to reach the top 10 in the Hot 100 in 6 distinctive decades. How crazy is that? All 6 decades. Finally, SNL's all new tonight with Glenn Powell as your host and Olivia Dean as your musical guest.
Okay.
And Jim, it's all yours.
All right, I got a few, and this is interesting because Diego Cruz sent me a text. We were talking about the World Cup and the cost of it, and just to put this into perspective, and he certainly knows this. The cost of an upper deck ticket for the final upper deck. $5,055
for the World Cup.
4,200 last month
from the World Cup, correct?
For the World Cup, right?
Actually, you know what? I'll be quite honest with you. That's not bad. Look at the Super Bowl. I mean, the Super Bowl is more money than that. It's so at least $7,000 for tickets. So
I know, but
honestly,
we're talking
that ain't bad. I mean, I know it's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. I know people are like, you kidding me? But considering what we look at for a price for the Super Bowl and stuff, that's not that bad right now.
But even cost of these knockout rounds that they have, they're in the thousands of dollars. So it's a little cost prohibitive for the average family, I must say.
The world's best. And remember, this is a sport and this is an event that is more than just Canada and USA. It is the entire world.
But you know what, Eli? You know what irks me even the most? That he mentioned that we know that Giants MetLife Stadium is hosting the final, right?
Oh, the whole grass stuff.
They're
Yes, I
going to
agree.
charge.
Yes.
They're going to charge $175 to park your car.
You know what though?
No,
That's why.
that's
You know what?
not
You know
acceptable
why?
in any way, shape, or
But you know
form.
why? Because since the Super Bowl, what was the biggest thing for New Jersey that they wanted to make sure happens? They wanted everybody to use New Jersey Transit and mass transit, whether that would be using their bus service or their train service to Secaucus Junction and taking another train to New York or points forward. That
I
was the
got it.
bottom line. Will
I
New
got it.
Jersey Transit deliver in terms of service? I don't know the exact answer to that one because we don't
Yep.
know how they will handle the amount of crowds and the amount of, you could use the word diversity, because there are going to be different language barriers outside of
Yeah.
English in the United States for this tournament. How
All
will they
right.
handle that? I don't know. Will it be the same as the Super Bowl? I don't know. These are a lot of questions that need to be asked, and New Jersey Transit though has to step up its game so people don't have to spend $175, and so it makes taking the train, accessible and worth doing.
Yeah, if it works, that's right.
If it works, that's the bottom line.
Yep. All right, Eli, I got some random points.
You got some more? Go ahead.
All right. First and foremost, we neglected to say it was your birthday last week. So happy
Oh.
birthday, partner.
Oh, thank you. Mhm.
Don't be so down. It's your birthday. When you get to be my
well,
age, birthdays are a sad
I
thing.
just don't like
When you're
no.
young, they're a
Yeah,
good thing. When you're
well,
my age, they're not so good.
we don't like mention. I don't like mentioning. That's why. Yeah.
All right. So, couple other quick notes. And again, I don't want to do the I told you so, but again, with the sports gambling, now it's hit baseball. And I was trying to say what is going on here, but now we know it's all of these prop bets. And I don't bet on sports, but as simple as throwing a pitch, an opening pitch that you could bet on it, how easy it is for Clase or Ortiz just to throw it in the dirt. It's crazy. This is the tip of the iceberg, as Kenny told us a couple of weeks ago. So I'm not surprised by it one bit. Did see kind of a sad picture. Former Cleveland Browns quarterback Bernie Kosar. Somebody had sent me a picture, and he's battling kidney disease, and he's not in really good shape. And I remember him. He won a national championship with the University of Miami. Very unorthodox style of quarterback, but successful in the NFL. I didn't even recognize the picture of him, so I send our wishes to Bernie Kosar. And Eli, real disturbing from yesterday. John Bean was longtime coach at Laney College in Oakland, and he was basically assassinated by some former student, or the details still coming out. But Mike, excuse me, how horrible is that? I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot of players in the NFL that have gone through his system, and that's just a crazy thing to happen. And I wanted to give a shout out to his family and the college itself. The guy really tried to make a difference, and he pays this price by some lunatic. As you pointed out, there's just more crazy people out there than we're aware of. So terrible thought there. Okay, Eli. I think we're good on random
all
points.
right. Well, with that, it's time for the what's your recommendation and the photo segment, sponsored by Vital Selections. You can scan the QR code above Jim's head to learn more.
Okay.
So what's your recommendation?
Well, I don't. I did watch a Netflix, or began to watch a Netflix last night on an Eddie Murphy documentary. And I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you've seen some of the movies. Beverly Hills Cop, you've seen, right? This guy was funny. And this is actually the documentary itself. So far, I'm halfway through. It's pretty funny. So
Well, as we know, Thanksgiving weekend is also, besides the parade and the food and everything and the Black Friday shopping, what else is it known for? The movies coming out. We have 3 exciting movies coming out, which are set to bring a lot of records to the box office. We have Wicked for Good, which is the second part for the Wicked movie franchise. That is in theaters this Friday. Sisu, Road to Revenge, available in theaters Friday. And Zootopia 2, the Disney movie, is available in theaters Wednesday, the 26th next week. So 3 great movies you should check out in theaters beginning this Friday and Wednesday of next week.
Cool. And I apologize for the sneezing. I have these allergies.
It's the allergies. Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Yep.
We have some photos. Let's take a look.
All right, Eli. This is a photo of my sister on the left and my 3 cousins. Unfortunately, it was a sad event. It was my cousin Georgiana's husband passed away, but those 3 girls, they look like Monahans, and amazing how much they look like their mothers. It's great. And Eli, we forgot to mention last week, not forgot, but we just brought it up. This was
Right.
Oakland Veterans Park because it was Veterans Day on Tuesday, and we support our servicemen and women, of course.
Absolutely.
And there's the sign out in front. Grew up in the town, and it's Veterans Day is very, very special. And I told you that I like flowers, right, Eli? So look at all those flowers. It was Lucy's birthday, and look at all the people that sent
All right.
beautiful flowers to wish her happy birthday. So that's what my kitchen looks like today.
Very nice. All right. Well, we do have some notable passings, and we have a lot of notable passings to get to.
We do, unfortunately. I could start off if you
Go
want. Not in any particular order, but Mel Bridgman, former Florida Devils as well, also played with Vancouver and Calgary, and one of the toughest players that I remember, just real physical type, good leader, 70 years old. And Mel Bridgman was, like I said, I watched him play against the Rangers as a Flyer for many, many seasons. Paul Tagliabue, former NFL commissioner, passed away. He was 84. And I mentioned to Eli before the show, I had an opportunity one day to talk to Paul Tagliabue for about 10 minutes when he was the commissioner. And I have a lot of different thoughts because, Paul Tagliabue was, the predecessor to Roger Goodell, and he kind of passed on. I will say I was disappointed that they didn't handle the concussion situation better, but they seem to have fixed that now. But Paul Tagliabue increased the value of an NFL franchise tenfold when he was the commissioner during his run. And as you know, the commissioner works for the owners.
Of course.
So I wanted to bring that up. Lenny Wilkens, former Knicks coach, he coached a lot of different teams, but also an outstanding player. He was 88 years old. So he had quite a resume in NBA.
Yeah, he did.
Big name there. And also former NBA player Michael Ray Richardson, who played for the Knicks, and he also played for the Nets. He battled substance abuse for a majority of his career. It was kind of a talent that was, expected to be great things, but off the field antics kind of derailed his career, but he still was a decent player. And Eli, since you're in the media as well, right? Larry Brooks, and a lot of people from the New York area or NHL fans in particular will know who Larry Brooks was, wrote for the Post for many, many years.
Of course.
Highly respected, and he was 75, right? Yes, 75.
Yeah, 75, born in 1950.
Wow. So that was a big loss, but he was, like I said, a highly respected journalist, certainly in the New York area for his coverage of the New York Rangers. And Jim Avila, former CNN,
ABC News, NBC News.
ABC, right? 2020. He was 69 years old, but certainly was a very familiar face on some of those investigative reports that were presented by ABC. And yes, which
I got two more.
Yep, Sally Kirkland, who was an outstanding actress, and I know her best for the role she played in The Sting. Small role, but yeah, she was an outstanding actress.
Paul Newman stuff too.
Yeah,
Pee-wee,
Yep.
The last one I have is Jimmy Kimmel Live's band leader, Cleto Escobedo III from Cleto and the Cletos, the band, has passed away. He was 59 years old, born in 1966. Jimmy left a heartfelt message in the Mono-Logue just the other day. And one important part for the Jimmy Kimmel Live franchise, and close person to Jimmy Kimmel as well.
Yeah. Boy, that Jimmy Kimmel's been in the news a lot lately.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
What else is new? With that, though, we had a really great show. We appreciate everybody for tuning in and joining us live and for calling in live, commenting. We really appreciate it. We had
I
a great
loved it.
show today. And we'll be back next week at 10 a.m. for Sports with Mono and Mono.
Yeah, and I do want to thank everybody. And Eli, outstanding job setting that thing up for our audience to call in. Eli, you're the producer of Sports with Mono and Mono. You know how to pull all that little stuff off, and it was outstanding. You know, to hear from William and Brendan and all of these guys. And again, Brendan, thanks for mentioning Steve. It's uh, almost got me a little weepy even just hearing it, but thank you very much. Great job, Eli. And like you said, if you guys have comments, send them to us at sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.com. And otherwise, we will see you right back here next Saturday at 10
10 a.m.